The signal from the edge, the stars beyond the Empire's border were quiet, too quiet. For over 100 years, no serious threat had come from the dark regions past the rim. The Empire had grown used to silence. It had grown lazy. At Outpost Theta 9. A small station near the edge of known space, life was boring. Officer Tom stood watch, sipping stale coffee from a dented mug. The scanners buzzed with background noise, like always. It was routine. Then, the noise stopped. A sudden blip appeared on the screen. A sharp, cold tone followed. Tom froze. He hadn't seen a signal like this before, not from any known ship. Unidentified object entering from Grid 24B, the computer said in a calm voice. Tom called it in. Within minutes, the command center of the Empire's border fleet was alive. With chatter. Generals argued. Analysts ran scans. One thing was clear, the object was big. Almost the size of a dreadnought. But it had no ID. No response. It didn't match any known design. Admiral Briggs ordered the nearest patrol group to intercept. 3 cruisers moved in. Their captains were confident. After all, who would dare challenge the Empire? But the object didn't stop. It didn't respond to hails. It moved silently, fast, like a blade through darkness. As the cruisers closed in, the object changed direction, just slightly. A minor adjustment. But it placed the warship right behind the lead cruiser. That's when everything changed. The unknown ship fired a single beam. No build-up. No warning. The lead cruiser shattered in an instant. There was no time to raise shields. The second and third cruisers opened fire, panic in their voices. But their weapons did nothing. It was like shooting light at a shadow. In less than 60 seconds, all 3 cruisers were gone. From the command center, Admiral Briggs watched in horror. No ship in the Empire's fleet had ever moved like that. Or struck so hard. Or vanished so quickly, because that's exactly what happened next. The warship stopped, just for a moment. Then, without a trace, it blinked out of view. No warp signature. No jump trail. It was like it had never been there. Sensors scrambled. Scans showed nothing. The Empire had lost 3 ships. Over 600 trained crew. And they had no answers. They tried to cover it up. A pirate attack, they claimed. Or a system failure, but whispers spread. Someone, or something, had challenged the Empire and won, and it had vanished into the stars, without a word. What scared the High Command most wasn't the destruction. It was the silence. The Empire reacts. The meeting room in the central command tower was packed. High-ranking officers from across the Empire had arrived within hours. Some came from distant systems through emergency warp relays. None of them looked calm. Admiral Briggs stood at the center, his voice cold and steady as he played the final transmission from the cruiser group. The room fell silent as the image froze on the last frame, a flash of white light, and then black. That, Briggs said slowly, was one ship. A heavy pause followed. Commander Rell, known for his loud opinions, slammed a hand on the table. That beam sliced through Imperial shields like they were nothing. No warnings, no build-up. What kind of weapon is that? Unknown, replied a tech officer at the back. Our scans didn't match it to any energy signature. It didn't even follow heat trails like plasma or laser tech. And then it vanished, another general asked instantly. Briggs nodded. Not cloaked. Not warped. Just a gone. There was no easy answer. No one dared say it out loud, but the message was clear. The Empire was vulnerable. They launched an investigation across the outer sectors. Hundreds of scout drones were sent beyond the rim. The Empire's navy pulled fleets from other systems to guard the outer regions. Every ship was placed on alert, but nothing happened. Days passed. Then weeks. No sign of the ship. No second attack. No strange signals. It seemed like a freak event, but Admiral Briggs wasn't so sure. He reviewed old records, digging through ancient files from before the Empire's rise. There were stories, long ignored, about strange ships appearing in deep space. Small colonies vanished. Sensor records with ghost signatures. All dismissed at the time, but now, they seemed far more real, and one thing kept coming up. A name, Earth. Long ago, during the early expansion, the Empire had made contact with a small, stubborn species from a blue planet far from the galactic center. They had called themselves humans. At the time, the Empire saw little use for them. No advanced fleets. No vast territory. They were tagged as unimportant and left alone, but now, Briggs wondered, had they been wrong? He ordered a search into old Earth records. Most files had been archived and forgotten, buried under decades of newer conflicts. Meanwhile, across the outer systems, fear began to grow. People whispered about the unknown warship, the one that came from the dark, destroyed 3 cruisers and vanished. Some called it the Phantom. Others called it the Sword from the Void, and in mining colonies, frontier stations and merchant routes, everyone asked the same question: will it return? Whispers of Earth. In a quiet corner of the Imperial Archives, deep beneath the central city on Talros Prime, archivist Lena scrolled through data long untouched. Her fingers moved quickly over the old interface, pulling reports from the early days of exploration. She wasn't a soldier. She didn't carry a weapon. But Admiral Briggs had chosen her for a reason. She knew how to find secrets buried in silence. The word Earth had appeared in a few old logs. Minor mentions. One in a trade denial file. One in a meeting report with a scout team nearly 100 years ago. That was it.no alliances. No conflict. Just ignored. But that's not what bothered Lena. What bothered her was what was missing. There should have been population records, planetary scans, tech summaries. Instead, there was a gap, a full deletion. Someone had scrubbed the files on Earth long ago. Lena frowned. Why would anyone erase files on a weak planet? She pushed deeper. Using old security bypass codes, she accessed a restricted archive section labeled Category X, Unresolved Anomalies. And that's when she saw it. A document marked Earth Departure, dated over 90 years ago. It wasn't an attack report. It wasn't a treaty. It was a warning: the Terran people have declined all Empire offers. They've withdrawn from all interstellar contact. Their fleet, though limited, is advanced in unknown ways. Recommend non-engagement. Potential threat. There were no follow-ups. Just silence. Back at Fleet Command, Admiral Briggs read the report Lena sent him. His hands tightened around the tablet. If they left quietly, he muttered, where did they go? At that same moment, far beyond the Empire's rim, a cargo ship en route 7 drifted through a dark sector. The captain yawned, sipping from a flask. When the alarms blared, a shadow appeared in front of them. Massive. Silent. No lights. No signal. The mysterious warship. The crew panicked, screaming into comms. No answer. The ship didn't fire. It just hovered there, as if watching, then it disappeared again, vanishing into the black. Without a sound, the cargo ship's crew lived. They reported the event. But by the time the nearest patrol arrived, there was nothing. Again, back on Talros Prime, panic began to grow. Was the Empire being watched? Was the warship a message, or worse, a scout? In a private room, Admiral Briggs opened a direct channel to a secret program known as Project Silent Sky, a long-forgotten initiative to locate lost species of interest. A man answered on the screen, his face pale and serious. You're calling about Earth, aren't you? He said. Briggs didn't answer. He didn't have to. The man nodded. You need to see something. We've been tracking quiet transmissions for years, all from one direction. He tapped a few keys. A star map appeared, and one system lit up far from any known traffic routes. It was unmarked, unmapped, hidden. The man said one word: humanity. Asterisk. Ghosts from the past. The hidden system had no official name. To the Empire, it didn't even exist. But deep in the restricted records of Project Silent Sky, it had one label: Sol. Admiral Briggs stood before the star map, staring at the blinking marker. So this is where they went, he whispered. Yes, the agent said quietly. We believe Earth is still there. We also believe they never stopped building. The agent brought up old long-range scans, barely readable, corrupted by deep space radiation. But some details were clear. Structures the size of moons. Orbital rings. Massive energy signatures far stronger than any Empire station. They isolated themselves, the agent continued, but not to hide. We think they were preparing. Briggs leaned back. Preparing for what? Before the agent could answer. An alert flashed across the screen. Emergency broadcast Sector 8 collapsed. Imperial garrison destroyed. Briggs opened the feed. A mining colony, once guarded by a powerful defense platform, was gone. Not damaged. Gone. No survivors. Only one thing remained, a faint transmission caught on a merchant vessel's recorder. A voice, calm. Cold, you should have left us alone. The voice was human. Briggs didn't sleep that night. Across the Empire, fear started turning into anger. News leaked about the mysterious ship. About the old stories. About Earth, people demanded answers. Some called for war. Others called for peace. But the Emperor remained silent. Behind closed doors, new orders were written. Admiral Briggs was given full command of a special task force. A fleet of 20 warships. Their goal was simple: find the warship. Follow it. Track it to Earth. If it still existed, they would not strike first, not yet. They would observe, learn, and return. At least, that was the plan. 3 weeks later, the task force launched from the edge of known space. Their route, the empty void beyond the rim. The area was silent. Dark. Endless. And then, as the fleet passed the border, they found something floating. It wasn't a ship. It was a piece of metal. Armor, black and scorched. Fused into it was part of an Empire cruiser's hull, melted, welded, destroyed. A warning, the ships paused. Crews murmured. Some believed they should turn back, but Briggs gave the order, forward. As they pushed deeper into the unknown, sensors began to flicker. Glitches. Static. Strange pulses. And then the lead scout ship vanished from the formation. No explosion, no signal, no debris, just gone. Panic rippled through the fleet. Then they saw it, the warship. It emerged from a cloud of dust, silent, massive, dark as space itself. No ID, no signal, but one thing was clear. It wasn't running this time. It was waiting. The standoff. The task force came to a halt. Engines humming softly as every ship in the formation pointed its weapons toward the unknown vessel. It floated just beyond the dust field, motionless, watching. Admiral Briggs stood on the command deck of the flagship Valo's Reach, staring through the front viewport. The mysterious ship didn't move. No shield readings. No engine output. Yet its presence was heavy, like a storm waiting to break. Do we open comms? The comms officer asked. Briggs hesitated, then he gave a slow nod. Try. The officer sent out the hail, standard Empire greeting, repeated on all known channels. No response. Try an old Terran frequency, Briggs added. Use the format from the archived Earth logs. The officer tapped quickly. Silence, then, leave. The voice came through all channels at once. Deep. Flat. Human, gasps echoed across the bridge. Briggs stepped forward. This is Admiral Briggs of the Empire. Identify yourself. We seek communication. The reply came seconds later. You seek to chase. To probe. To conquer. That is the Empire's way. This is your only warning. We do not wish for war, Briggs said, then turned back. Without another word, the signal cut. The bridge fell into silence. A few officers looked hopeful. Perhaps that was the end, but Briggs knew better. Target the warship, he ordered. Do not fire unless provoked. Launch drones to scan. Within moments, sensor drones flew toward the dark vessel. They scanned from all angles, sending back strange readings, materials unknown, hull density off the charts, and something else: no heat. No radiation. No life signs, the science officer said. It's like scanning a ghost. One drone got too close. In an instant, it disintegrated, cut in half by something invisible. No beam. No missile. Then the warship moved, just slightly, tilting toward the fleet. All ships prepare for evasive maneuvers, Briggs ordered, but the warship didn't attack. Instead, it released a pulse, a slow, circular wave that passed through the Empire ships without harming them. Suddenly, all screens on every vessel lit up. A message, text only: you fear what you do not understand. We left your kind to grow. And this is how you repay silence, with suspicion. Then came the final words: you followed us. You threatened peace. Now you will witness the edge of what we've become. The warship powered up, not with fire or noise, but with light. Lines of glowing energy slid across its hull. The dust field around it shifted, pulled into strange shapes by its unseen gravity. Briggs knew what came next. Retreat, he ordered, voice tight, but it was too late. The warship vanished, and in its place, 3 more appeared, larger, faster, deadlier. The Empire had found Earth's warning, now it was too close to run. Fire without sound. The silence broke only when the fleet began to move, but not the mysterious warships. Those ships simply hovered, surrounding the Empire's task force like wolves, circling prey. Their hulls shimmered with strange patterns, light pulsing through them like living veins. No markings, no engines, and no visible weapons, yet everyone aboard the Velo's Reach could feel it. Power. Admiral Briggs issued a desperate order. All ships, evasive formations, defensive screens up. The Empire's warships obeyed instantly. Shields powered on. Cannons locked onto targets. Fighters launched in swarms. Then came the second message, this time, in perfect Imperial standard. We warned you. Before Briggs could react, one of the outer escort ships simply disappeared. No flash. No explosion. Just gone, as if space had swallowed it whole. Another ship turned to flee, its engines igniting, but was crushed mid-maneuver by an unseen force. The hull crumpled like paper, twisted by gravity that should not exist. On Velo's Reach, panic flooded the bridge. Alarms screamed. Crew shouted over each other. Briggs stood frozen, eyes locked on the central view screen. The lead alien warship moved now, not fast, not sudden. It glided forward, slow and deliberate, as if unbothered by the Empire's entire fleet. Fire all weapons. Briggs roared. The Empire's ships answered. Missiles, beams, kinetic rounds, all launched in a storm of firepower. None of it mattered. The weapons never reached their targets. Half vanished in mid-space. The rest bounced off invisible shields with zero impact. A strange glow began forming beneath the Terran ship's hull, a circular pulse, building steadily. Brace for impact, shouted a commander, but there was no impact. No wave of heat. No sound, just light, and then, everything stopped. The command deck went dark. The stars outside blinked out. The crew floated in place, gravity disabled. Briggs gasped. His voice made no sound. A presence filled the ship, not physically, but mentally. A feeling. A presence of will, of judgment. Then it spoke. Not aloud, but into their minds. We gave you peace. You responded with ships. We gave you distance. You followed with threats. You are not ready to know what we have become. Go home and speak no more of this place. Just like that, light returned, stars reappeared, the alien ships were gone, every Empire vessel still intact. No damage. No trace of the warships. But systems were fried. Weapons offline. Engines disabled. Briggs collapsed into his chair. He looked around at his silent, stunned crew. They had been shown something no one in the Empire would believe, not just power, control, and mercy. The message they brought back. Admiral Briggs sat alone in his quarters aboard Velo's Reach, staring out into the dark. The fleet drifted slowly through space, systems damaged, comms barely functioning. The mysterious Terran warships had vanished just as suddenly as they had appeared, but their message remained clear and undeniable. They could have destroyed the Empire's fleet. They didn't. A technician knocked and entered, handing Briggs a repaired transmitter. Long-range comms are up, sir. We can reach Imperial Command. Briggs didn't respond at first. He held the device, thumb hovering over the record button. What was he supposed to say? How could he describe what they had seen? Ghost ships. Impossible weapons. Power that bent space itself, but more than that, restraint. Mercy. The Empire had sent warships to investigate. Earth had responded with a warning and spared them. He pressed record. This is Admiral Briggs of Task Force Argus. We encountered a Terran fleet beyond the rim. Their technology surpasses our own in ways we do not understand. They destroyed 2 ships, then disabled the rest without firing a shot. We were given a message to turn back and not return. I recommend full withdrawal from all exploratory missions beyond the rim. Earth. Humanity is not a threat to be managed. They are a power that made a choice to walk away. Let us not force them to choose otherwise. He stopped the recording. Back on Talros Prime, the Emperor received the message in silence. Around him, advisors listened with pale faces. The room was still as death. No one spoke for a long time, then the Emperor gave a single order: seal the report. All files were locked. All witnesses silenced. Officially, the task force had encountered a spatial anomaly and returned with no contact, but whispers escaped, people talked, stories spread of ghost ships beyond the stars. Of an ancient power sleeping in the dark, they called it the Phantom Armada. They said it belonged to a species once mocked by the Empire. A species that had turned inward and mastered the void, humanity. Back at the edge of the galaxy, deep within the hidden Sol system, a ship returned to orbit. It docked quietly at a vast, black station wrapped in shadow and light. Inside, a tall figure stood watching star maps. Another officer entered the chamber and bowed. They turned back, he said. The figure nodded. Good, the voice answered. Let the stars remember, we offered peace. If they come again, he turned, his eyes glowing faintly beneath his helmet, they won't be so lucky next time. Asterisk.